Hello. Go ahead and get started. Lesson 86. You might need your book for this lesson. I recommend it. I don't read the whole problems out to you. I just think I don't have that much time for these videos, so I just rather just go through the pictures and go with it. Here we have theorem 86-1. Very easy theorem. I like today's lessons. Very simple, just following the theorem. Here it says, if two chords intersect in a circle, so there's two chords, remember that means it's not a diameter, it's just two lines inside the circle and they intersect. Here it says the products of the chord segments are equal. So that means this times this, AE times EB. So this times this is equal to this times this. So there's nothing of adding or subtracting, it's multiplying. So you're multiplying the numbers on the same line, you're setting equal to the product of the other line as well. So here, example 2, we're going to go ahead and just skip to example 2. We have this shape here. We have a circle. We have two lines here. I have S, Q, R, P, T. Here it says to find what ST is. We're trying to find this section right here. We don't have a number for that. So then we can use that formula to go ahead and solve and see what side ST is. According to the formula, you multiply the numbers on the same line. So if I'm focusing on this line, I have two numbers. I have 6 and I have 6. So 6 times 6. So that the product of the line is equal to the product of the other line. So if I look at the other line, I have 9 and I don't have anything here. I'm just going to label it as ST. So this times this should equal 9 times that. So now I have 6 times 6 is equal to 9 times ST. That's 36 equals 9ST. To get ST by itself, divide both sides by 9. And therefore, the side ST is equal to 4. You want to check your answer? 9 times 4, 36. 6 times 6, 36. They are equal. Example 3. So now here they're dealing with algebra. Same concept. So you're multiplying the numbers on the same line. So let's go ahead and focus on this line right here. So what I have from this line is I have 2 plus x times 2. So the product of the numbers on that line. So 2 plus x times 2. Set it equal to this one over here. They said to find what is x. And we use this formula to find what x could be. So now, this line, 2 plus x times 2, is equal to the product of the other line, which is 5 times 5 minus x. Again, when you're multiplying, if you flip it, it's not going to change your answer whatsoever. 5 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 5. Now we go ahead and multiply it out. It looks like we can use distributive property. So that means you're multiplying both numbers, not just one. I get 4 plus 2x is equal to, again, use distributive property, 25 minus 5x. Next thing, get the x by itself. I always move over the x term or the variable first. So I'm going to move the lesser of the two, which is negative 5x. Again, it's crossing that equal sign. So you change your signs there. I have 4 plus 7x is equal to 25. Getting the x by itself, that means subtract 4. You get 7x is equal to 21. Divide by 7. When you divide by 7, x is equal to 3. We don't have to do anything else. If they ask you what the length of one side is, then you will have to plug it back in. But from this step, according to what I'm reading, which you should always be reading the directions before you begin solving for it. In this case, just solve for x. This last one's a little bit trickier, but it's understanding how to draw it out. So here we have a super heavy passenger jet has an upper passenger deck. So this is the airplane model. So here's the upper deck. Here says the upper deck that is located 3/4 of the way up to the cylindrical, I can't even say that, fuselage. So what percentage of the height of a fuse is the width of the upper deck? So what we're trying to solve for is the width. So we have this whole airplane model here. So they said 3/4 of the way. So I'm going to label this as 3/4. It's considered the height. The way up, they consider here for the seating of the people here. So if I were to draw that, based on what I have here, I already have everything I need to know. So if this is 3/4 of the way up there, I know this is 1/4. The reason why, 3/4 plus 1/4, that creates 1. Here, it says nothing about the width, but whenever you're drawing something, so we're going straight up ahead, you're creating a perpendicular line, just creating a straight line. So that means you're creating a straight line these will be considered your width, and you're just cutting that width in half. So let's say if the width was like 6, you're cutting it in half, it'll be 3 and 3 on that side. So here we have it going 3/4 of the way up, we know the rest is 1/4. We have a width, which is not known to us, but we know that it cuts in half, so we have 1/2 width here and 1/2 width here. Now we have to go ahead and find it. The question is saying what percentage of the height of the fuselage is the width of the upper deck. We're trying to get the W by itself. We're trying to solve for that W. So now, let's go ahead and create an equation. So we know the product. So this line, the product of this line is equal to the product of that line. So that means 1/4 H times 3/4 H is equal to 1/2 width times 1/2 width. We're going to try to solve for the width because that's what they're looking for. So 1/4 times 3/4, I get about 3/16. So 4 times 4 is 16, H squared. Remember, there's an H in each one. H times H squared is equal to 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4, and width squared. We're trying to solve for the width now. To solve for the width, you go ahead and get the W by itself, multiply it by the reciprocal of the fraction here. So it's just 4/1 or just 4. I get W squared is equal to 4 times 3 is 12. 12/16, I get 3/4. So 12/16 can be simplified to a lesser fraction of 3/4. So now I have 3/4, H squared is equal to W squared. The last step is you need to get the W by itself. The squared is with it, so undo the square, meaning square root it. When you square root it, the W is by itself. Whenever you have a radical, it's the same thing as saying 3/4, the square root of 3/4 times the square root of H squared. If you notice, the H squared, they cancel out, and you're left with an H. Another rule about radicals, whenever you're square rooting a fraction, you square root the numerator and you square root the denominator. And if you noticed here, 4 is a perfect square, so you're going to have radical 3/2. And they want to know what the percentage is. That means go ahead and simplify even more. Radical 3 divided by 2, if you use your calculator, you get 0.87. H is equal to W, or it's about 87%. So now the question here, the answer will be the width of the upper deck is about 87% of the height. And that's what you got from up there. So you'll have to work each of them out. You'll have a homework problem related to this. Just keep in mind, is it 3/4, 1/4, and you have to put in the remainder of it. But draw out your circles so you understand what you're drawing. If you guys need any more help, make sure to email me. My email down there. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.